Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Congressman Tom Rooney here for Casual Friday in Washington, D.C. to give you an update as to what happened this week in Washington. Florida's farmers and ranchers and growers scored a big victory this week when President Trump signed an executive order that instructs the EPA to reevaluate the Obama administration's Waters of the U.S. rule, better known as WOTUS. The WOTUS rule is a classic example of federal government overreach, which broadened the definition of the type of water body that would fall under the EPA's jurisdiction to include small ditches and puddles on farms. The president's action is a welcome relief for Florida's farmers, business owners, and local governments who ultimately would be on the hook for billions of dollars that it would cost to comply with this ridiculous regulation. Legislatively this week, we also continued to walk back years of unnecessary rules and regulations, removing the power from faceless Washington bureaucrats and returning it to the legislators, who are held accountable by you, the voters. On Tuesday night, President Trump came here to Capitol Hill for his first address to a joint sessions of Congress. In his speech, the president reaffirmed his commitment to implementing our bold Republican agenda that the American people voted for in November. I look forward to working with Congress and the president to rebuild and reinvest our crumbling infrastructure, fix our broken healthcare system, and make it easier for American companies to do business here. After 8 long years of serving in Congress under President Obama, I am optimistic about this important opportunity for Republicans to prove to the American people that they can come first and we can get the job done. As many of you know, communities across our nation are struggling to combat the growing opioid crisis. Just last week, I met with local law enforcement agencies in Southwest Florida, and many expressed serious concerns about the dangers posed by fentanyl. That's why I was proud to work again with my colleague, Congressman Tim Ryan, to introduce bipartisan legislation that would ensure existing law appropriately reflects the dangers posed by fentanyl. The Stop Trafficking in Fentanyl Act would reduce the amount of fentanyl needed to invoke the most serious trafficking penalties for an individual trafficking and manufacturing the drug. The bill would lower the threshold that triggers federal penalties from 400 grand to just 20 grams to ensure that the law appropriately reflects the extreme strength of this drug, which can be fatal in doses as small as 3 grains of salt. Also this week, I signed on to a bill titled the Pre-Existing Conditions Protection Act of 2017. As I'm sure you all know, one of the most popular provisions of the Affordable Care Act blocks insurance companies from discriminating against people with pre-existing conditions. This bill says that even after the ACA is repealed, that the law of the land will be that insurance companies cannot discriminate against people with pre-existing conditions, regardless of what happens to Obamacare. We do not want individuals with pre-existing conditions to be left behind, and this bill protects them from losing the coverage they need. But ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, Obamacare is failing under its own weight. In many states, we're down to just a single provider of government-mandated health care. That's no competition. There's no chance for lower costs, and there's even less access to health care. That has to change. We don't have a choice. We have to fix it. And I don't want to take anyone's health care away. I hope you believe me when I say that. But this government program is failing, and it's my job to try to make it better and fix it. That's all I have for you this week. For those of you who haven't heard, I will be hosting a town hall meeting in Inglewood on Monday. All the information for that is up on my website, and I'm hoping to see you there. I hope you and your families have a great weekend, and God bless.